this session, we will learn the concept of shadows and lights. Before jumping directly on the human body or any other complicated shape, we will understand it in basic shapes. Alright? Before reaching the shading part, allow me to explain the correct brush that we will use in this session. I'm gonna explain to you the differences between regular brushes and shading brushes. Okay? So one brush we have this. Second brush is this. And the last one is this. I am simply putting a dot from these brushes so you can see the kind of brushes these are. Now we have three different kind of brushes. This brush on the first number is solid. Just with a dot it forms a circle. So we do not use this brush for shading. Alright. Now look at the second brush. It has very soft edges. It is not solid. Right. Only the very center part area of this brush has an impression of a circle. Now compare the second and third brush. In the third brush, the center part is more prominent than the second one. So when we do shading, we do not use this center part, we use only edges of the brush. And because the second one has softer edges, so we are gonna use this brush and not the third one. We will use only the edges of this brush for shading. Okay, I'm marking here for you. This is the part we are gonna use, the soft part. Alright. Now for example, this is the shape that we have. So first we will make a selection of this shape. Now suppose it is a selection, so for shading we will put our brush over the selection, halfway in and halfway out like this. So that this will be the prominent part of the brush and this will be the softer part. Okay. Of course I'll be giving you a demo, but just remember that while shading we put our brush halfway in and halfway out from the selection so that we can shade through soft edges only. Alright. So now let me give you a demo. I'm drawing a circle here and simply changing its color from the color palette. Now another important point that you need to understand is picking up the correct shades for rendering. For rendering, we pick up at least 3 to 4 shades, one base color, 2 darker shades for shadows and outlines, white color for highlights, and sometimes we also pick tints of the base color for bounce lights and other effects. Alright, so these are the shades. White color. Here I'm gonna use these 4 colors for rendering. Let me mention this here for you. This is base color. This second shade is for shadows and shadings. Third shade is for darker shadows and outlines. Now white is for highlightings. And as I said, sometimes we use tints also for bounce lights. So I am adding that also. This for bounce lights. You might not be aware of the terms like bounce lights, key lights, etc. But don't worry, I'll explain everything with examples while giving you the demo. Alright, so let's continue. Here I have this circle, and with the help of rendering techniques, I'm gonna transform it into a sphere. Now I am assuming that my key light is here. What is key light? Key light is the main light source. Okay. Now, like I told you that you cannot add changes in a smart object or a shape. So to be able to do that, first we rasterize the layer by pressing right click on it and then clicking on the rasterize layer option. Then make a new layer and select pixels from the main shape. To select pixels, either you can right click on the thumbnail of the layer and then left click on select pixels. Look, a selection has been created of all the pixels from this layer. Or you can also use a shortcut key for this, which is Ctrl plus left click on the thumbnail of the layer. Alright. Now for rendering, I am selecting the blank layer. Why are we rendering in a blank layer and not on the shape directly? Because we do not want to spoil our main layer. If we do directly on it, then later we won't be able to edit it. Okay, once you start practicing now, you will start to understand its importance, and the more you practice, you will start realizing its benefits as well. So for now, just remember that we work on separate layers for everything, and it is very important to select the correct layer while rendering. Let's move further. Here we already have a base color, so I am picking up the second shade. I am also picking up the soft brush, alright. Now consider this circle like a bowl and start imagining how it will look like in real life. So I'm adding shadows on this part of the circle because this is the area where light exposure is very less. Alright, the light source is up, so light won't be able to reach beneath the bowl. It is as simple as that. Okay, watch my cursor and understand the hand movement. My brush is over the selection, halfway in and halfway out, like I explained earlier. Now I'm picking up the third shade to add more shadows. I'm using this dark shade only at the bottom part of the bowl because this area has the minimum exposure of light. The bottom part of the bowl is touching the surface, so light won't be able to reach here. Now I am merging the shades a little bit. Now I am using this tint of my base color to add light to the exposed area. We usually use tints to give a more 3D look and to add bounce lights. Alright, now what are bounce lights? When light strikes on a surface, then the surface reflects it back, and that bounced off light creates a softer lighting effect, which is called bounce light. And the amount of reflected light depends on the type of surface we are rendering. For example, satins, silks and leathers are very good reflectors, whereas khadi, cotton or denim are bad reflectors. Now I'm gonna use white color with 50% opacity to add more light. This white area has the maximum exposure of light. Just give it a softer look. And look how we have transformed the 2D circle into a beautiful 3D sphere. We can simply alter its opacity to change the properties of the shape. With less opacity it looks like a matte bowl, and with high opacity it looks like a shiny bowl.